that's when I told her, it doesn't matter if you win or the pie eating contest, because at the end of the day, win or lose, you got to eat pie. Oh, hello. Thank you. I didn't see you there. Thank you for joining us once again for the 104th episode of the Drunk Doctor Who podcast, wherein we discuss the 104th serial.
The Destiny of the Daleks.
Destiny of the Daleks.
All right, today is October 3rd, 2022.
Today we are joined by my senior co-host in podcasting, Hatter. What are you drinking today, Hatter?
Russian Standard Vodka. Some of the last of it, probably.
Embargo.
No, it's not so much an embargo. It's just that Russia's falling apart, and this is actually from St. Petersburg.
Did you hear about Putin going off and hiding in his little vacation home?
He annexed a couple of regions. 4 provinces of Ukraine. Well, then the Ukrainians chased him out of one of the cities. So
more of the oligarchs are going mysteriously dying under.
Yeah, the world's a mess right now.
What a nightmare. What is it not, though? What is it not a mess? It's especially a mess right now. Which is why
the 90s.
are watching.
The 90s were not a mess. The Cold War was over. The New Order had beaten it. And the War on Terror had yet to begin.
I might be slightly partial, but I was biased. I might be slightly biased, but I am partial to the 90s. It was the decade I was born in.
There you go. Okay, so Destiny of the Daleks.
Destiny of the Daleks.
So this is the first serial of season 17 for Doctor Who. It's a 4-parter. There you go. Aired from September 1st, 1979 to September 22nd, 1979. Our companions are K9, barely, and Romana 2.
K9 has meningitis.
No, laryngitis. Meningitis is different. And the antagonists are the Daleks, Davros, and the Morvellians. And we obviously need to space that out better. Anyway.
So we say goodbye to Romana 1, but we didn't really say goodbye to her. It was very unceremonious. We just kind of subtly didn't renew that actress's contract and signed a new actress.
And Romana regenerates into Romana 2. And it turns out it's the same actress who played
Princess Astra.
Princess Astra. And the doctor's even fooled. He goes, Princess Astra, what are you doing on the ship? And she goes, Romana. What? What are you doing? I'm regenerating. And he's like,
can regenerate.
He's like, well, you shouldn't take other people's forms. You should go do yourself. And so she leaves the room and comes back 5 or 6 different times in different bodies. So, okay. So apparently, this is the only example we have of somebody voluntarily regenerating. Throughout the entire show. It's the only one.
Doesn't the Doctor regenerate into someone that was in the show previously?
Yes.
He takes
the 6th Doctor up there. No. Other side. Him, yeah. That is Colin Baker. The 6th Doctor regenerates into that form. Well, the 5th Doctor regenerates into the 6th Doctor's form.
We have 2 different Bakers?
Tom Baker and Colin Baker, the 4th and 6th Doctor, respectively.
We should be referring to them by their first names, not their last names.
I refer to them by both.
Do any of them share a first name?
No.
No, let's do first names.
No. I'm so used to the last names.
Colin
Baker. Alright, so anyway, he had played a part on the show previously during the 5th Doctor's tenure as a guard.
We haven't seen that yet.
No, we're not to the 5th Doctor yet. So, when he regenerates in that form, nothing is said about it. Now, later on, Capaldi, who is not on the... Capaldi's not on there.
Okay.
Capaldi, the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith, regenerates into Capaldi. Capaldi had been on the show twice before. One in the main line of the show as a man in Pompeii with a family that the Doctor saves. And once in Torchwood as a very minor department head, but who ends up dealing with the aliens, the 456 in Children of Earth. That one was absolutely amazing. That whole series is
Children of Earth.
Amazing, yeah.
Classic. It's funny that we see the Doctor chastising Romana though for choosing
That
the appearance
and then later on he does it himself.
And he
but
does it, yeah.
With 6, it's never mentioned. With 12, he spends a season having a crisis of identity.
Oh,
Am I a good man? Why did I choose this face? Yada, yada, yada. And it's really rather annoying.
The Doctor is certainly a complicated character.
Yes.
Several different complicated characters. We refer to Romana and she regenerates into Romana 2. We refer to it as Romana 2. But we don't refer to the Doctor as Doctor 1 and Doctor 2.
The first Doctor, the second Doctor, the third Doctor. We
Okay,
basically do.
You got me there.
Okay. Alright, anyway.
Totally different character. So, Romana, her personality traits kind of change as well after her
They
generation.
mellow out. She gets less of that superiority complex, and she's got a little bit of the snippiness of the first Romana, but as time goes on, she mellows out very considerably. And part of it was the chemistry between Tom Baker and the actress, because they actually ended up getting married down the line. They got divorced eventually, but still, there was a good bit of chemistry between them to get married. Even though he was about 15 years her senior, but that's fine. It's within range, yeah.
A range.
A range.
One of those ranges.
No.
I feel like Baker was the one that was like, no, don't renew her contract. Let's sign her on permanently.
Maybe, I don't know, but I mean, obviously,
that's why we
the
lose
contract
Romana
wasn't
so
renewed.
suddenly,
Romana
yeah.
won, and then
And she's replaced by Astra, who was
yeah,
series prior,
yep.
serial prior.
Okay, so anyway,
Series.
so this is the one time we see a Time Lord regenerating, and we see voluntarily, and we see Romana picking different forms until she decides on the one she likes.
Tall lady.
We do not know if it is because she's female. It's the only time we've ever seen a female Time Lord regenerate.
Well,
Or if it is because she does it voluntarily.
apparently male Time Lords regenerate into female, and I'd assume vice versa.
That's
They're
only
kinda-
much later in the modern stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. But so that was never, ever in the
Established.
classic series or the first revival.
Did they establish it with the Doctor prior to the 13th? When did they set that up?
It was mentioned,
Like the serial before
During-
the last
it was
season?
mentioned during either Tennant or Smith. And then, Smith. I think it was Tennant. Yeah, it was about the,
So there was some precedent set up in the
but
newer stuff.
not way back when. It was
No, not-
that
not-
was still recent. That was still this
Yeah.
century.
Not Baker's era.
Correct. Although Tom Baker did once quip when he was being replaced that he didn't know who it was, he or she. He did quip that once, but it was more of a tease. It was never canon or something in the show. But yeah, Tennant laid the foundation with the Corsair about that. And it was laid in during that, which was written by Moffat. And don't go saying, any viewers, but it was in last century because it was done in the Curse of Fatal Death. The Curse of Fatal Death was in 1998.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Children in Need deal of Doctor Who, so it's not canon, and it's basically a parody, right? The Doctor regenerates like 5 times during the episode, like 20-minute episode.
One of them was female.
Yeah, the very last one was female.
But he's really burning through his regeneration.
Right. The first one is Rowan Atkinson.
I love Rowan Atkinson.
He's the Doctor for most of it.
Is that the funny thing where like they do the skit with him and the Master and they keep regenerating?
Well, he regenerates. The Master doesn't.
Okay, I think I've seen that skit where like, I remember seeing Rowan Atkinson.
So he regenerates into the guy from Moulin Rouge. If you can. He regenerates into Hugh Grant, and then he regenerates into Richard E. Grant, who gets to play the Doctor jokingly several times, and then he regenerates into a woman, and she and the Master walk off together. Okay, that was a joke, that was a skit, that was a parody.
So it's canon.
And it was also written by Moffat.
Oh.
Yeah, he who wanted the Doctor to be female for so long, but didn't do it himself. That had to be done by Chibnall.
Well, I mean, he did do it in the comedy special.
Once again, comedy. It's not canon, not real.
So speaking of genderless beings, that's something I noticed with the Morvellians. We don't know that they're, spoiler, that they're robots right away. And it's this race, this alien race that's played by both male and female, but they dress exactly the same.
But
they have the same hairdo.
But you can tell which ones were female.
You can, because the actors, but they all look, it's like he said, they all look like they're supposed to be genderless. And I thought, oh, that's an interesting alien race. And then you find out it's because they're robots is why they're so uniform and the sameness. But I thought it was interesting, like a mystery as you find.
They were all very physically fit.
Yeah, and again, because they're robots, but that's something you notice too.
But the actors and actresses are very physically fit. It's like,
the actors.
They have to have the little butt flaps, you know? Because the suits are very tight.
The spandex,
Yeah. Woo. All right. Anyway.
It's fun.
All right. So anyway, should be a fairly short serial.
Oh no, not if I have anything to say about it. I
protected my knight at your room.
Yeah, you moved them.
I moved the rook to be there. All right.
I see.
So anyway, the Doctor and Romana land on a planet. The Doctor's working on K9. K9's a little messed up. Romana does her regeneration deal. They land on a planet, and the Doctor's like, I get the feeling I've been here before. Well, probably because it's the same quarry they use every third serial. But anyway, turns out it's Skaro.
That's your king?
That's my king.
Okay.
Right. So
the first space a pawn moves can be 2 spaces?
The first move, can be 2 spaces for a pawn.
That's a legal move there?
That's proper.
Okay, I'll let go over the piece.
Alright. So anyway,
Does the far right pawn move forward 2 spaces as its first move?
Yeah.
In comes
check. And that's that for this week. Anyway,
it's very close to me. It's getting awfully
we're
tight
getting
in
there. Yeah. All right. So anyway, they show up on the planet. They're wandering around. They bump into the first group. The first group is a group of apparently slaves, humans, and they're burying somebody who's dead in a cairn.
Like
then
the Doctor pile of rocks. They're just kind of.
That's what a cairn is.
A cairn is just a pile of.
C-A-I-R-N. Yeah, it's a bunch of rocks that you cover up a body with when you can't dig into the soil. Yeah. It's one of the more ancient ways of burying somebody.
Very lazy.
Yeah. Anyway, it's to protect the body from animals and some such, you know. So. Anyway. The Doctor and Romana are traveling around. They bump into the Morvellians. Mm-hmm. Okay. No. First, they see the Morvellians land.
Right.
The spaceship lands and it does that drilling thing. And then they get chased off. They're about to go down and greet the Morvellians, but all these explosions hit. And they're running from the explosions. And they don't realize they're not being aimed at them. It's just a drilling operation. So they run into a building. They've determined that this was an ancient civilization because of concrete. They run into a building and a large, giant concrete pillar falls down on the Doctor. Normally this would have been the end of an episode, but it wasn't. It was in the middle of the episode. The Doctor's saved because there was another block there that stopped it from crushing him, but he's kind of stuck. Romana goes off to go to get K9 out of the TARDIS. There's yet more explosions and earthquakes, and the TARDIS is blocked again. much like it was in Dalek Invasion of Earth 2150 AD / Daleks Invasion of Earth, with a beam and the rocks and everything. So she can't get to K9, she can't get to the TARDIS.
It's a little more convincing than this one.
Yeah, it is a little more convincing in this one.
Accessible.
But it's so funny because for the Apocrypha, we watched that last week.
Really good timing.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have noticed the dichotomy otherwise, probably.
And also, we just recently had a Heroes and Villains with Davros. So
yeah, so yeah,
as well.
It's like Davros, Dalek. Anyway, so she cannot get into the TARDIS, so she decides to head back to help the Doctor. In the meantime, the Morvellians have shown up. And the Doctor's like, pardon me if I don't get up, because he's pinned under this giant pillar. They move the pillar and get him out off screen. They take him back to their ship, and they're talking calmly with him. Like I said, they are really fit people. It turns out later we find out they're robots, which is why they're so paranoid at one point of the Doctor inspecting them.
And amorphous. Yeah, it explains a lot. Yeah, it's a fun mystery.
Yeah, fun mystery. And he's like, well, okay, the Daleks are here. What are the Daleks looking for? And they're like, well, we don't know. Well, what are you looking for? Well, we're trying to find out what the Daleks are looking for. It's like, okay.
It's this whole space race, Cold War kind of. They're at this standoff with the Daleks and the Movelians. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like this Cold War as they're both kind of building their arsenals, and no one thinks it's optimal to make the first move, and they're at the standoff. So
correct.
The Daleks are at this planet Skaro looking for a secret weapon. So the Movelians are like, well, we're here because we want to know why the Daleks are here.
The secret weapon is Davros. They left him to die many, many centuries ago, and now they've come back to find him because they need him to reprogram their computers to help them win the war.
Isn't that ironic?
Yes. Yes,
Have mercy.
The perfect machines must get a human being to help them program irrationality or randomness into their battle plans. All right. So anyway, where's the first episode in? Oh yeah. Okay, so she's running. Romana's running back to find the Doctor. She doesn't. He's gone because the Movellans took him. But there was a guy who was kind of following her, and he doesn't use his words.
Tyson.
Huh?
Tyson.
Right. Tyson.
Looks like
Tyson. Yeah.
Uncle, what's his face?
He looks like
Nosferatu. He looks like a vampire. He
looks like
series of unfortunate events.
Lemony Snicket's series of unfortunate events. Count Olaf in Lemony Snicket's series of unfortunate events, which was played by in the movie. What's his face from?
Are you talking about the new one?
No, there was a movie. In the movie, he was played by Ace Ventura guy.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey. In the TV show, he was played by the short guy. The one from.
I didn't realize it was a TV show. I just thought they made a.
No, it was also a TV show. It was a guy who stole the car in Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Oh, Neil Patrick Harris?
Yes, Neil Patrick Harris plays Count Olaf in the TV show.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I like the movie with Jim Carrey. I haven't seen the TV show.
And speaking of Neil Patrick Harris, he's going to be in Doctor Who soon, so.
I heard, he wrapped up some filming on the Doctor Who set.
It's going to be awesome.
Which is exciting. Yeah, we get to see shoot time.
Rumor, I think we've discussed it before, is that he's going to be playing the Toymaker. There are other possibilities, but I think that's the most likely one.
He's probably the best part of the new Matrix movie. I wasn't a big fan of Matrix 4. It wasn't very good, I don't think.
No, it was not good. I
like Keanu Reeves. I like Neil Patrick Harris, but the writing was just it was very
it was bad.
Meh. Yeah. There were a couple of scenes where I was like, okay, this feels like a Matrix movie.
Yeah.
But for the most part,
they only had one of the two Wachowskis.
Right, yeah, they
which
lost
was one
half
of the
of their directing talent. Yeah.
Right, and the other problem was it was a bit inundated with wokeness, you know? the whole thing where he couldn't fly, but she can help him fly.
It felt very. I found that to be more of a romance narrative, which I mean, I do like how Trinity and Neo's relationship.
Neo has always been the one, even though we actually know the one is Agent Smith.
Well, that's the conspiracy theory. Yeah.
No, that's the real thing. Anyway.
I agree with that theory, though.
Yeah.
So, but I think the reason I didn't like it was because the Wachowskis. The Wachowskis.
They're now the Wachowski sisters.
No longer
or
brothers and
something
sisters.
like that.
The Wachowskis, they came out with a third movie. It was very confusing, and it had some bad reviews. And they stuck by it. They said, "No, this was a story we wanted to tell, and we did, and we ended it, and this is where it ends." So I'm like, you know what? I have respect for that. They didn't do the cash grab thing. They came out with a movie narrative that they thought might not be received very well because they had their story that they wanted to tell, and I could respect that. And then I feel like the fourth movie was very uninspired because that was the cash grab of the IP, because one of the Wachowskis came back and said, "Hey, this could be a lot of money."
Right.
And the other Wachowski was probably like, "Nah, we've been there, done that. We already told that story." So it felt like it was very unnecessary.
It was, in Hollywood, you have ideas.
Yeah.
And this is part of it. They keep rehashing old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so...
I don't remember why we're... Oh, Neil Patrick Harris.
Alright. Anyway, so the fourth one just wasn't...
It was bad.
It was fairly bad. I like 2 and I like 3, especially when you understand about Agent Smith.
I even like 3, yeah.
Yeah.
It is confusing.
Not as good as 1, but it made a nice overarching story.
Yeah, 1 and 2 are the best.
But 4 was just good. 4 was just like Superman 4. But forget it.
It never happened.
Never happened.
It doesn't count.
I'm trying to think of any fourth movie in any franchise that's
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Rightly worth watching. Yeah. Rocky 4.
Oh, there you go.
Rocky 4 is good.
Rocky 4 is good. Star Wars Episode 4. Technically,
that's the first movie.
Yeah.
The fourth movie,
Phantom Menace.
The fourth movie would be the Episode 1, which was horrible.
I was raised on Episode 1, so I could.
Nobody's perfect.
I could have had that nostalgia. Yeah, no, you're right. Most 4s are bad. Yeah. Most 3s are bad. Most 2s are bad.
Some series get better as they go along, and there are about 15 2s that are better than the 1s.
I mean, you have
we discussed that.
The
before.
super long-lasting series like James Bond, Star Trek.
Yeah.
What is it, Star Trek's curse? Every odd one.
Every odd one is bad. Every even one is good.
So the 4th Star Trek movie is good. Isn't that Khan? Which one's Khan? 2 or
2.
4? Okay.
2.
Which one's 4?
4 is Voyage Home.
Voyage Home. That was a good one, right?
That is. Okay, so we live in Lubbock, Texas. All right.
Shh, don't tell them that. No.
January 13th. It's a Friday the 13th.
Ooh.
William Shatner is coming to town.
He's coming here?
He's coming here
to
the Buddy Holly Center, and he's going to do a showing of Wrath of Khan.
I love it. He's going to do like commentary. Like,
I don't know. I don't know if he's doing anything during the movie or if he's only going to do questions afterwards. But he's going to be here for a showing of Wrath of Khan.
I love that.
Yeah,
Captain's Log.
I want to go. I want to go. Yeah.
So they brought Sir Patrick Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris.
No, Sir Patrick Stewart. Back into the new Star Trek stuff. How come they never brought Kurt?
Because
they bring Picard back, but they don't bring Captain Kirk back. I guess I don't know anything.
Well,
about
they
Star
did bring
Trek.
Captain Kirk back for Generations,
but with a new actor, right?
No.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No. In Star Trek Generations, which was like the 7th movie, maybe the 8th.
Because at some point
they I think it was the 7th movie. It's still Captain Kirk.
Really?
It's still him, yeah.
So is it the 8th one where they reboot the whole thing and they recast?
No, it's about 10th.
The 10th one? Oh, okay, because it's no longer Leonard Nimoy doing Spock. And...
No, it is Leonard Nimoy doing Spock. And the other guy doing Spock.
Yeah. I didn't know that either.
Okay.
I'm so... I don't know.
So the bad reboot of Star Trek had the new guy, the guy from Heroes, doing Spock, but it also had Leonard Nimoy as Spock. because the two lines converged.
It's a timeline thing?
Yeah, it's a timeline thing.
Okay.
Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. Yeah. And it was nice seeing Leonard Nimoy playing it again.
I like Leonard Nimoy, yeah.
Yeah.
He passed away.
Yes. Leonard Nimoy passed away.
A decade ago.
The guy who played Bones has passed away. I think Shatner is about the last one left alive because Scotty passed away. Right? The Japanese guy's still alive.
Yeah. Don't tell me. Oh my.
Yeah, him. Yeah, he's still alive.
I can't think of his name.
Chekhov. No, not Chekhov. Chekhov's passed away.
Oh my.
Yeah, he's still alive. Anyway, but okay, back to Doctor Who. Alright, so she shows up, the stranger advances, you find out his name is what?
Tyson.
Tyssan. Tysan. Not Tyson. Tysan.
He looks like
so she backs up into a shaft, falls down. End of episode. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Episode 2. Like I said, this is a very straightforward serial. Incredibly straightforward.
Yeah. I like those.
Not a lot happens actually.
There's a little bit of mystery with the robots and what the Daleks are after, but it's a very straightforward plot. You know, it kind of builds in an obvious direction.
Correct. So she falls down the shaft. She gets up. Tysan kind of wants to go after her to help her.
Yeah, he starts getting his rope
together. Yeah. She goes over to a wall, which is vibrating. And then Daleks burst out. They say, "You are a prisoner, do not move. You are a prisoner, do not move." End of the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Second episode, they take her away. Tyson was absolutely not able to help her because they're Daleks. And they start giving her an interrogation with a lie detector.
Yeah, it was a very nice interrogation.
Yeah. And they're like, are you here to stop us? She's like, no. What do you know about Daleks? I don't know anything, which turns out later on to be slightly a lie. But
it was how they worded the question. Yeah. It's, because they just wanted true or false, and her false statement rang true, and then she followed it up with the, I don't know anything about the Daleks, but that wasn't true.
Correct.
She does know about the Daleks.
So, turns out we've got the Marvellians, we have the Daleks.
Hyptograph tests or whatever. The lie detectors. Polygraph.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that where she has to put her hands on the little lava lamps and they glow green or red.
Well, yeah, that is right. So anyway, she gets taken away and she gets put in Workforce 2, which are the slaves who, while the Daleks are excavating and they're doing the drilling, they don't have the physical capabilities to move away the rubble. And they use the humanoid slaves to move away the rubble.
They take the cages of lawn chairs that they remove the legs off of to use as baskets.
Doctor Who has a small budget, sir. Or at least he used to.
We do this to make fun of the because they used one of the radio devices was made out of an old women's razor. It was very recognizable, and like they didn't really dress it up as a sci-fi equipment thing, so it looked like he was just holding up a women's razor to his mouth. Because they're airing those commercials like right before the movie came out. They're like, "I've seen that razor. It's not a walkie-talkie." I think it's the thing he's using as the metachlorian count, and he's talking to Obi-Wan with it. Also, metachlorians. Who wrote that?
Episode 1 is bad. George Lucas wrote that.
But the choreography, the fighting choreography is so good. The action.
That part's good. The rest of it's bad.
Plot bad.
Jar Jar Binks.
Well, I mean,
bad.
The plot is intelligent. It's not a bad plot. It's just very...
It's not a good plot.
Bureaucratic, boring.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, so she ends up in this slave workforce, although she's wearing the nicest clothes of anybody because she just got there. Mm-hmm. And this one guy keeps telling her the only way to get out is if you're dead. So she ends up feigning death because she's a Time Lord. She can stop her hearts, and she feigns death. And they're like, she's dead, and the Daleks are like, well, you will bury her at the end of the work period. So she goes off. In the meantime, the doctor, Tyson, and three of the Marvelians head into the city to try and find what the Daleks are looking for. They try and get to the control room. They get there, although one of the Marvelians is killed by a Dalek. The other two Marvelians, i.e. the commander and looks like the number 2, Tyson and the doctor get to the control room. The doctor grabs an explosive device, puts it in his pocket, because they have them there for the excavation. And the doctor figures out that they're looking for Davros. He also figures out that the Daleks have forgotten about the shaft that in Genesis of the Daleks they escaped through with the air deal. Was that Genesis of the Daleks? I think so. So anyway, he says, I know a shaft that goes straight down to the 4th level. We can get to the 3rd level before they do, and we want to, because that way we can find it. So they take the shaft down to the 4th level while the Daleks are still digging to get to the 3rd level. And then they make their way to the 3rd level much faster. And they find what the doctor thinks they're looking for, which is Davros. And Davros has been in this sort of weird state of suspended animation forever. Even though the Daleks shot him in Genesis of the Daleks and killed him, apparently his backup life support systems kicked in and saved him, and the other things did tissue regeneration and all that. So he survived. Now the Daleks are coming to look for him to get him to help them program their computers better with a human element, an illogical element, so they can defeat their rivals, the Marvelians. So apparently, comes out the Marvelians are robots, and the Marvelians and the Daleks have these giant fleets that have been hovering and surrounding and moving in formation around each other for centuries. And they're both programmed by perfectly logical computers to find the best moment of advantage to initiate the combat. But since they're both logical computers, they've been stuck in an impasse for centuries. So the Daleks came to find Davros to help program their computers better to find that moment, which will never happen. And the Marvelians are now coming to find out why they're doing it so they can do the same. You forgot your twisted tea. Okay, so anyway, the Daleks find the Doctor, the Marvelians, and Tyson down there. The Doctor manages to escape back up the shaft that Tyson had, put the rope down to help find Romana too, which is how they actually got down into the shaft, and they run away. This was after Davros has been found. And the Doctor gets shot at by the Daleks. Okay. Come in. You still don't have a twisted tea. Okay, twisted tea.
This one's not.
What was the end of episode 2?
Pressurized. Episode 2 ends on. It's alive! Davros returns. It's alive.
Yes. Okay. So I think I'm in episode 3 then.
I moved that one there after he moved that there. Just in case you're wondering.
Yay! You have everything in shot?
Yeah, I'll cut it.
Okay. You need to make the tripod lower. There you go.
You are in shot.
Okay. Alright, so Episode 3. How many deaths do we have this serial?
Humans? 5, 6, at least 7 humans. Lots of
And
robots and
Probably
Daleks.
about 10 Daleks and several robots.
Daleks they're organic. A little.
They have organic components. Alright. Anyway, so the Doctor and them all head back to the Morvellian ship.
You see how that's not pressurized?
Slightly. Okay. Alright. So anyway, Davros tells the Daleks, you will obey me. Hey, let me see all the information on your battle plans. You know, all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he figures out what's going on between the Daleks and the Morvellians. Oh, you're stuck in this situation. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The Doctor heads back out, sneaks back in, and... Oh, wait. No, this was last time. He has Davros, and they get into a corner in a room,
Mm-hmm.
and he holds Davros hostage with one of the explosives that he has.
Mm-hmm.
He says, look, I'm going to kill Davros if you guys don't do what I want. And so Davros is like, the Daleks are like, you won't do that because you'll die. Davros is like, he'll do it. Believe him. He is illogical sentiment. Illogical sentiment. Yeah.
Yes.
So the Doctor manages to get. We'll get there. The Doctor manages to get Romana and Tayson away, and they go and they try to get to the Morvellians to get for help. The Doctor holds off the Mexican standoff with the Daleks, and then the Daleks come and they start shooting slave prisoners, saying, "This is on your head. This is your responsibility."
He watches 2 of them die before he.
Like the Asian guy that helped Romana.
And some woman.
And some lady we don't know. And they die, and then they're going to keep shooting. He says, okay, look, I will give you Davros, but 2 conditions. First of all, let all the prisoners go. Second of all, you move back because I need time to get away.
Why did 2 people have to die for him to say that?
Probably because he was making sure that they were willing to carry out their threat.
When are the Daleks not willing to carry out the threat?
Okay, that's valid.
I feel like the Doctor's to blame for those 2.
No.
Partially.
No.
The Daleks killed them.
The Daleks killed them. None of the fault's on the
inaction is just as bad though. Is the reason why he died.
No, it is not. It's bad, but it's nowhere near as bad.
He showed an action towards something he could have prevented.
Okay. What they did was the worst. All right.
I'm not convinced the Doctor's a good person.
The Doctor's a great person.
He's okay. He has good intentions, but an evil nature.
He's amazing. No, he doesn't have an evil nature.
All people have evil nature.
No.
Yes.
All people have the spark of the divine. We just happen to live in a fallen world.
To be human, you need an evil nature.
No.
Yes.
I disagree.
I disagree with your disagreement. I disagree.
Okay, false. We'll have a Faustian bargain by the end of this episode, okay?
What is that? Is that like a bet?
Okay, you don't know the story of Faust.
Faust?
F-A-U-S-T, Faust.
German?
Yeah, German.
No.
He was a man who made a deal with the devil.
Did I tell you about Wotan?
About what?
Oh gosh. What's the girl's name?
Which girl?
Wotan. It's spelled.
Oh yeah.
It's spelled Wotan, but it's pronounced Votan. Hill something. Hilberta. Hilgrid.
Oh.
So there's this German god named Wotan. It's pronounced Wotan, but it's spelled Wotan because it's German. And he puts Man, why can't I think of that name?
Hildegard?
Hilda. Helga? in the tower, guarded by a dragon. It's a German. Anyway, we had the computer that was named after
Right.
Wotan.
That was in the war game.
Yeah.
No, that was in the War Machine. Yeah, with the
and we were
first
like, why is it spelled Wotan and pronounced Wotan? Because it's German.
Right.
So what's this Cassian bargain thing?
Faustian bargain.
Faustian bargain?
It's a deal with the devil.
Oh, okay.
Faust makes a deal with the devil, and then eventually the devil comes for his due.
Man, German's a great language. Just how they construct sentences. They have a word for everything.
Yes.
How they kind of just like add on to...
Well, we kind of do that in English.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, because
I like
English
German.
is a Germanic language.
It is.
At root. Okay, so anyway, the doctor gets away. He thinks Romana's dead, but turns out she's not. She just stopped her hearts because she's a Gallifreyan. She can do that, a Time Lord.
Respiratory bypass? No. Okay, something else.
Okay.
You think it'd be detrimental to willingly stop both of your hearts? Wouldn't that cause some sort of damage?
So the Doctor and Romana go back with the Marvellians to their ship. They're in the ship, and the Doctor wants to leave with...
Tyson?
He leaves with Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
Tysan. They leave, and they're trying to figure out stuff on Davros. And there's all of these Daleks out looking for them. Just tons of them. In the meantime...
By tons, we mean like 2 or 3 that they keep...
6 or so. Yeah.
Recycling.
They have 6 in one shot.
Oh.
They do. Alright.
I think they have 3 in one shot, and they shot a different shot with 3, and then they combined
That would
the
require
2 shots.
special effects.
I think they made about 3 Dalek suits for this one.
No, we see 4 or 5 at a time.
Okay.
Alright.
So they keep Romana aboard with the Marvellians because they thought that would be more safe.
They're keeping a prisoner.
Was not, because they were working on their Nova device, which catches the atmosphere on fire.
Yes, not good. This
what they're up
happens.
to.
This actually happens later on in Doctor Who.
They set atmospheres on fire.
Yes.
Isn't that basically what a nuclear bomb is doing? Like causing a nuclear reaction? Where
It's only very localized. This is like the entire atmosphere, not
this
just
is where it
the
converts
energy
all of
expands.
oxygen into flammable.
Alright. Anyway, so...
That's what they were afraid of when they were testing the atomic bomb. They didn't know when their reaction would stop. They like...
Exactly.
Would just all atoms just react to each other.
It's like... don't do it. Alright. So they decided that the Marvellians are going to detonate this Nova device so that Davros can't get off the planet. And they test the device in a self-contained container, and it works. They're like, okay, we're going to do this. And they have Romana, and they stun her.
Want the Doctor.
Yeah, they want the Doctor. Because they want the Doctor...
Use her as bait.
So here's the deal. They're like, hey, why can't we win this war? Doctor's like, we're 2 computers doing everything the same. And then they play rock, paper, scissors.
Logical stalemate.
Right. And they play rock, paper, scissors, Romana and the Doctor. And they come up with different outcomes because they're different people.
It's like that scene from War Games where he starts playing tic-tac-toe with himself, and then he starts doing the nuclear war with himself and realizes that he's at a stalemate with himself. There's no winner.
Exactly, yeah.
So these 2 the 2 war computers that are calculating war strategies are kind of at a stalemate with each other because they can't.
Forever, because they're both perfectly logical. So the Doctor convinces the Marvellians that, look, he gets them to play rock, paper, scissors, and they always come up with the same result. And they're drawn every time because they're thinking logically.
Isn't that the thing with Spock? What's the name of his race? Vulcans. Isn't that Vulcans are kind of like computers? They're purely logical as a species.
Supposedly, except for every once in a long while when they go into mating season.
Ooh, that's not very logical. That's emotions.
It's pure emotion for however long the mating season
That's
lasts.
when they go from this to the...
From Live Long and Prosper to Nanu. Nookie. Alright.
By Snoo Snoo.
Exactly. Alright. So the Morvellians now understand that it's going to take a human brain to reprogram the computer to fix it so they can win. The Daleks are in the exact same boat with Davros. The Morvellians are setting to lift off. Davros finds this out from the Daleks, and he's like, we have to stop them. Because if they leave with the Doctor, he can reprogram their computers to counteract my advantage.
Yeah.
And the Morvillians are like, Doctor, can't you program our computers? He's like, well, I could. What about Davros? Well, he's almost as good as a computer programmer as I am. And you see Romana go, oh. It's beautiful the way she does it.
What do you think she was feeling in that?
Oh, you idiot. Why did you tell them that? Now they're going to kidnap you.
Yeah, the following scene where the Doctor finally confronts Davros, we kind of get that nice, rare moment where the Doctor's having a conversation with someone that he recognizes as his intellectual equal.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of going back and forth. It kind of reminded me of when he'd have conversations like that with the Master.
Yes, yes. So anyway, the Doctor manages to go, and they're trying to capture him. They put Romana in one of those encapsulations, set it to explode, and the Doctor runs with a Nova bomb. Doctor runs up, the bomb's ticking down, and they capture him. They drag him back. End of episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 4. So the Doctor and Romana are stuck in the Morvellian spaceship. They're trying to figure out a way out. They're literally prisoners, and they do the rock, paper, scissors, keep doing that, trying to figure a way out. In the meantime,
Davros is talking to the Daleks.
right,
He's kind of butting heads with the idea of a Supreme Dalek because he wants to be the Supreme Leader of the Daleks.
And he sends all the Daleks on a suicide mission. They've got the bombs wrapped around them, suicide vests, and he sends them on a.
He only keeps one Dalek.
He keeps
as a
$1,
bodyguard,
right?
Which is
The other
oversight.
4 or 5 or 6 are sent off to surround the spaceship of the Morvellians to blow themselves up and take out the spaceship.
Multi-megaton level explosion.
Half a megaton, yeah.
Because their phasers couldn't pierce the hull of the spacecraft, so they're using
But the explosives
they're
could.
mining explosives and suicide bomber tactics.
It's like, So the Daleks are approaching the Morvellian spaceship, and the Doctor is like, okay, we've got to escape, can't escape. But the third group that we haven't seen in a while, the prisoners, the released by the Doctor prisoners, along with Tayson.
Yeah, Tayson's kind of
Tyson.
like the leader of the
Prisoners, yeah.
prisoners, and they're all very grateful that the Doctor negotiated for their
Release.
escape.
Yeah.
So they're helping them with like guerrilla warfare tactics, and they're ambushing the Morvellians and taking off their battery packs and
Right.
reprogramming them. And
Right, the Morvellians apparently have this little battery pack here that is both an
Well, so-
energy supply and the orders for the day.
it's
And if you remove it,
like a tube of the D batteries.
yeah, it looks like a flashlight.
If you remove it, they're
Right. So if you remove it, they run out of
they
energy.
do a quick pirouette and then collapse.
Kind of
It's
quick,
like,
yeah.
oh, my
So
my battery is.
and you can reprogram those so that the Morvellians follow you and not their leader. And they do this to a couple of them, and they keep doing it to more.
Mm-hmm.
They manage to storm the Morvellian ship, take out all of the Morvellians except the commander,
Mm-hmm.
and
He gets away.
we have a few human deaths. And then they're saying, and the Doctor's like, okay, you stay here. Romana, you help the Morvellians get the ship ready and help with the wounded. I'm going to go confront Davros. The Doctor leaves. And then the Daleks, who have the suicide vests, are heading towards the ship. And the prisoners run out with their weapons of the Morvellians to try and stop them. A few more human deaths. In the meantime, the Doctor's gotten to Davros. He's like, Davros, I didn't think it'd be so easy to get to you, to see you. And Davros, as many evil villains do. He lays out his plans. All they have to do is push this button, and I will destroy the Daleks and destroy the Marvellian ship because they'll be surrounded, be against the hull. I was like, really? What's to stop me from pushing this button? Are we gonna stop me? He's like, no.
Nothing.
And I goes, okay. And then the Dalek right behind him. You will surrender. Do not move. And he's like, "Wah."
It's that Sherlock Holmes Moriarty moment where it's like,
Yes.
I thought that you would do that, so I did this. I thought that you thought that I would do that, so I did this because I knew you were going. So the Dalek pulls up behind him. And you're like, I thought of that.
Cheers.
It's fun.
There you go. So the Doctor ends up slyly using his hat, throwing it on the eye stalk of the
We
Dalek.
saw it coming because that's not
Yes.
the first time he's done that. Specifically with his hat on the eye stalk.
Correct. So
he's kind of like gripping his hat, and you're like, oh, I see where this is going.
then he tosses it, it goes on there, and then he destroys the Dalek. So he goes, Davros.
Yeah,
And
he
he
blinds.
takes Davros's
Puts
hand,
the bomb on it.
pulls it up,
Looks like they're arm wrestling, yeah, and then
then he lets go, and Davros pushes the button.
which is kind of, I don't know, a weirdly cruel way to do that. Like, what's the deal with the suspense? You get the feeling that the Doctor is kind of giving in to his hatred towards Davros. He kind of recognizes that Davros is this totally irredeemable evil person, and you kind of see the spark in the Doctor where he kind of delights in combating the evil, to where he's like, it's kind of creepy, yeah.
It is. Well,
he's like, I'll make you press your own button to.
He basically plays Polish arm wrestling with him.
Yeah.
You know that?
Is that with the Scorpions?
No. Alright, here, Polish arm wrestling. Do this.
Uh-huh.
You do that. And then I let go and you hit yourself in the face. That's Polish arm wrestling. And
that's fun.
right, and that's basically what he does with Davros and the button, you know? So anyway, all the Daleks with the suicide vests blow up.
Yep. Before they reach the hole of the ship.
Right. So all the Daleks are gone now. All of the Morvellians are gone. Oh, in the meantime, Romana realizes the commander's not there. Mm-hmm. She realizes he's going after the Nova bomb. Mm-hmm. She runs out and she barely stops him and disarms him. She literally kicks off one of his arms. She stops him from detonating the Nova bomb. So
we kind of have several scenes in the serial where the Time Lords show a superhuman strength. They're picking up the big rocks and throwing them over their heads to clear the TARDIS, and she kicks the arm off of a robot.
Well,
we kind of get more of a sense.
We don't know how well the robots are made, so
right.
It may or may not be.
Well, they're strong enough to lift a big old rock off of the Doctor to where he comments on. Yeah, so you get the sense that they're kind of constructed for physical activities, and you kind of get the sense that Time Lords are also stronger than the average humanoid. As they're tossing rocks and kicking arms off of robots.
Alright, so the prisoners get to take the Morvellian ship out of there. They get to go home. The Daleks are defeated. The Morvellians are defeated. And Davros is put into suspended animation cryogenics, big block ice.
Yeah.
Where he will go to Earth to stand for his crimes against all of sentient creation.
Yes.
And I love the word creation there. And the Dr. Romana sneak off. They get all the debris out from in front of the TARDIS, and they teleport away.
They kind of make a very earnest escape where Tyson, who is their ally, turns around and he's talking to the Doctor, and he turns around again, and the Doctor and Romana had slipped out, not only because they don't really like goodbyes, but even in the face of Tyson, their ally, and the other prisoners, that we're very much on their side. The Doctor and Romana are running. They're running back to the TARDIS as the spaceship's about to take off.
He's like,
and he comments, that was a close escape, and it just kind of goes to say that the Doctor, in his time traveling adventures, you never really know who you can trust, like, because the Movelians turned on him and the Daleks were there, and he didn't trust the prisoners either. You know, he thought that
at first,
yeah, he doesn't want to get caught up in, oh well, if they're taking Davros to stand trial, then they're gonna make me.
The Doctor hates goodbyes.
He has to escape from So it kind of paints his character and he's, you know, off adventuring, and even in the face of allies like UNIT. UNIT is an organization that he very much butt heads with because they have the red tape and the paperwork, and he just wants to, you know, go and do whatever and not be held accountable by bureaucracy and
correct. All right. Okay. So that was the Destiny of the Daleks. What questions do you have?
So the Doctor earlier in the serial laments on how he could have killed Davros the first time he met him. He said, "I had the chance."
Yeah. This is Genesis of the Daleks.
Davros and prevent the Daleks, and he didn't. And you kind of get the sense that he's remorseful of that, or he laments the fact that he had that opportunity. So later in this serial, you see him once again have that opportunity and not take advantage of it. He could have killed Davros.
He tried
and brought it into his
but
ring.
the Daleks took the bomb away. Remember?
But he's wheeling him around in the wheelchair.
And he could have killed him then.
He takes him to be cryogenically frozen and stand trial. He could, which just goes to say, oh, you know, he's coming back as a villain again in the future.
Well, you can't kill off Davros. He's such a good villain.
No, I'm glad he didn't, because I like Davros. But it's kind of like the Voldemort argument of, why don't you just kill baby Hitler or baby Voldemort? Why didn't you kill Davros when you had the chance? Or
okay,
now that you have the chance
this,
now,
the Doctor actually saves young Davros.
Oh right, we talked about
the 12th Doctor eventually saves young Davros.
But why? Why does he do that and then lament the passing the opportunity? It's this humanity within the Doctor that he struggles with. He wants to do the ends justify the means, and then the other half of his personality
never justify the means.
Is that he kind of struggles with that internal conflict, but at the same time he kind of cruelly takes joy in depriving Davros of he's a complicated character, the Doctor.
Yes, he is. Yeah. Right. Any other questions?
Why didn't he kill Davros?
We just discussed that.
Why does K9 have meningitis?
No, laryngitis.
Laryngitis. How does K9 have laryngitis?
There's a season where K9 is voiced by another actor.
Oh.
Not the original K9, okay? Not the original actor to voice K9.
That's kind of like saying you swap the voice actor for the Daleks. It's like, it's so computerized. How would I know?
Well, you will know when K9 actually talks.
Really?
If I think it is a season. If it is a season, you will notice when K9 talks, you're like, oh, that's not K9's voice. Maybe this season, it may be a later one, but I think it's this one. But after that, they go back to the next season. They go back to the original voice actor.
Huh. Wonder why?
Well, because the other one didn't work out. He just wasn't anywhere near as good.
So like the first one, they didn't. Where they were paying him too much money, so they tried replacing him. And
they're like, no, we need you back. We'll give you the money.
That's funny. So K9 has laryngitis, even though he's a robot. It felt like another way for the writers to kind of write him out of the show, because they don't.
And they did write him out of this, yeah.
And then the Doctor comments on when he's stuck under the rock and he's talking to Romana too. He goes, well, K9 could lift it if he was here. And she goes to get K9, but then there's the cave-in. Then we see K9's whistle, and he uses the whistle and the high frequency
the Morgellons,
to scramble their
robot brains.
Yeah. We talked about Romana's new actress as taking the appearance of Astra.
Yep.
And how the new actress kind of portrays the companion Romana in a different way than the previous actor.
Correct. She's less of a high noble, I am better than you.
Yeah. But the Doctor isn't. He's still very high and mighty. But one question I had about Romana is, why is she still with the Doctor even after they resolve the whole key of time? The keys of Marinus? Keys of time?
Because remember, at the end of the Key of Time, they put the randomizer on the TARDIS to make sure that the Black Guardian or anyone did not know where they were going. And that's how they ended up randomly here, and how they end up randomly in several other places in the future.
So Romana was assigned to the Doctor by the Black Guardian, who was under disguise as the White Guardian.
Right. No, and at that point he was disguised as President of the Time Lords.
Right. But she no longer really has that assignment. They save the universe. They scatter.
But you can't go home because the conveyance to get her home is on random.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Okay, well that makes sense. So she's stuck with the Doctor for a little while longer.
Until they get to E-Space, yeah.
East Base.
E-Space.
E-Space.
Right.
Is that like the D drive, E drive, C drive?
No, E-Space, we'll get to that next season, and that's when Romana leaves, is when they get to E-Space.
We talked about the amorphous nature of the alien robots.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, here's one. Why aren't the Time Lords taking a more proactive approach to combating the Daleks? I'd say that Daleks are probably the greatest threat to the Time Lords. The Time Lords being such a powerful race of alien beings, they kind of take a hands-off approach to being the peacekeepers of the galaxy. They're like, we don't want to intervene, we want to give all these alien species their own freedom and free will to govern themselves, and we only really intervene if it's a threat against the entire universe, which is what the Daleks are. But we don't really see the Time Lords actively at war with the Daleks. But why not? Why aren't they taking a more proactive approach?
Okay. 3 points. One is that they try to stay out of other people's affairs, in theory. 2, the Sontarans, thus far, are the only race to have breached the Time Lord's defenses. You remember that in the
right? Yeah.
End of Time.
While the Master was.
Or that. 3rd, we do see this in the future. The Daleks and the Time Lords get caught in an incredible war called the Time War.
Time War.
Of which the Doctor is the only survivor.
Spoilers. All the Time Lords die? So isn't the Doctor still reigning president of the Time Lords?
Yeah, for a bit while longer, yeah.
In a way.
And eventually he becomes president of Earth.
So at this point in the TV show, you're saying there's kind of like a Cold War between, let's say, the Time Lords represent the United States, and then the Daleks are kind of like Cuba, and they're building this nuclear arsenal, and there's this Cuban nuclear crisis
more like
going
the
on.
Soviet Union.
Yeah, but not quite to where they're actively at war with each other. They're just kind of, keeping an eye on the Daleks and their
the Daleks for centuries have been stalled by the Morvellians. So why did the Time Lords have to intervene?
Because if they did, they could have cut out that threat underneath its
legs. But they would have been the Morvellians. The Morvellians also want to take over the universe. Let them keep each other in check.
I feel like the Time Lords could prevent a lot of progression or escalation of evil in the universe if they kind of combated it.
That's why they sent the Doctor back in Genesis of the Daleks
to
kill the Daleks.
It's one Time Lord.
Wait, no.
Two Time Lords? One Time.
That time. Yeah, that time. Alright. Just that time.
They're like, this is the greatest threat to the universe. So we're going to send you alone by yourself to take care of this.
His companions.
They're just like, here are all
Sarah
of our
Jane
eggs.
and
here are all of our eggs we're gonna put in your one basket. The fate of the
and
universe.
Harry Sullivan. And they defeated them.
I don't get it.
Right.
I feel like the Time Lords are terrible at mismanagement.
You are correct.
Okay.
You are correct. All right.
I feel like
Pardon
you're
me.
a little overconfident.
You would not be wrong. Drink. Wait, there's nothing in that.
No, almost.
Mm.
Mm-mm. Okay, now there's nothing in it.
Alright. What's your next question?
I think we just about covered it. Let me go. Davros returns. Davros will probably be back.
Yeah, he comes back.
We talked about the doctor not taking killing and expressing remorse. 2 people die. A sonic screwdriver makes an appearance.
Yes,
that. We don't see the sonic screwdriver as often as I thought we would. We saw it a lot with Pertwee, I feel like.
We see it. We see it a bit more with the 5th Doctor, and then they destroy it.
They
sonic
destroy the
screwdriver
sonic
gets
screwdriver.
destroyed,
No.
and it doesn't exist during the 6th or 7th or 8th Doctors.
I feel like they kind of got tired of writing around it as a...
Well, yeah, it was basically meant to open locked doors, and it eventually became a MacGuffin.
Turns into a catch-all.
Yeah, and oh my God, Whittaker just uses the hell out of it. She's just like, oh yeah, okay.
It feels like kind of lazy writing.
It is.
The writers don't really wanna
Chibnall
put
is
that
super
through.
lazy writing. Oh my God, he turns in first drafts as a finished product, and he's so lazy.
Alright. So the 2 robot races fighting each other. Evil devours evil is kind of their approach the Time Lords take to combating evil. It's just let it devour itself until it doesn't, and then they run into some trouble apparently. We'll see all that and more in future podcast episodes. So stay tuned next week when we watch The City of Death.
It's awesome.
Written by Douglas Adams.
Ask me if we ever see the Morvellians again.
Do we ever see the Morvellians again?
No.
Oh.
Never. Not as of yet.
Do we see the Daleks again?
Well, hell yeah.
Do we see Davros again?
Yeah.
Alright. It's our traditional question.
Alright. We will see you next week for the Douglas Adams absolute classic, The City of Death.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. We don't have an outro thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do we? Oh, we do.
We do have an outro.